Welcome to this week's episode of the Overflow Podcast. My name is Joaquin.
I'm Jake.
And we are glad that you are here with us this week. We are, $1 short and a day late, but we are here.
Yeah.
I don't know why we have $1. I got more like $1.50, but I don't want to share my 50 cents.
I only got like 16 cents.
So between us, we got $1.60. $1.66. So anyway, so we are here this week. Thank you for joining us once again. So what up, Jay? How has your week been? We got a lot of stuff we're going to be covering. Some interesting, some not so interesting.
It's so funny.
So what you know good?
It's something really funny. What's good, son?
Well, that's what I just asked you.
I know, but I flipped it on you.
You're not Jesus. You can't be flipping questions. You can't flip a question with a question.
But I am Christ-like, so yeah, I can.
I don't think that's how that works.
You can now. We make up our own rules in the Overflow Podcast.
I don't think that's how that works. Nah, man. It's been the week already started off rough.
Really?
Yeah, man. I worked by myself today. We lost a couple people last week. It was just I'll be working by myself for a while.
Why?
Because we lost people. We got to get new employees. We got to get a new person on my shift, and then we got to hire somebody for the second shift, and then yada 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 yada. So today I didn't get to eat. I didn't get to eat lunch. I was sad.
Well, that sucks. You know you can't do that.
No, I had to because I couldn't go get lunch. I was by myself.
So then Uber Eats.
I can't go get lunch. I can't leave my post.
Uber Eats
can't come into my.
But they can't leave it they can't leave with somebody's security and they'll bring it.
No, because you got to sign for it and all that stuff.
No, you don't.
And they won't do that.
Oh yeah. Well, no. Okay. Well, that's
that's not how that works, man. That's not how that works.
That's
all right. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out.
This just in, Ben Affleck wants to keep playing Batman in the DCU.
I don't believe it.
But
he quits. He wants to stay. He wants to leave.
Right? He's like that.
But he hasn't said that. That's what's funny about it. Like he's never actually come out and said like I don't want to do it no more. It's all speculation.
Right. He hasn't come right out and said it on his own. Like his brother said that he says that all the time.
Right. Yeah, but Casey's just trying to get the heat off of him because he got himself in trouble.
What are you talking about?
He got accused of
everybody's
some
getting
stuff.
Accused.
No, but he was like legit. I think like they went to the cops and everything. It was just a whole big mess. But it's when he won his Oscar for that movie he did, Manchester by the Sea.
Right.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
What'd you think?
Ugh.
I was so bored.
So boring.
I finished it because I was like, well, I've got to finish it.
I never finished it.
I got to finish it because it's just a point of pride. It was just a point of pride for me. I've got to finish this. But so what's up, man? What's up with you? How was your weekend? How was church? I was church this week because I left early.
You left early
because it was Mother's Day.
From when you got there to when you left, we finally dedicated Sonia.
Sonia got yes.
It was a decision that needed to be made. Right. Because since we were without a church for a while.
Right.
So I reached out to a few pastors, right, to have them do it. Pastors that I consider friends, and they never responded.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so it was a decision that I needed to make because Magda was asking me, but for me, doing that shows that you are part of the church family.
Right.
Because it's a responsibility that you entrust upon your church family. So, yeah, I finally, not conceded to the asking,
Right.
but conceded to this is gonna be my church home for a while. So yeah, let's get this done here. So it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. It was hilarious.
Yeah, man, it was cool. And like your mom came and your sister and her 30 kids. Like it was
and the truya.
yeah, man. That was cool. Like I was like, oh, they came. Like I was just surprised.
I wasn't surprised that my mom came. I was surprised that the rest of the crew came.
Right.
Even if they were her ride, right? Because they could have just dropped her off and kept going. So, but yeah, it was dope.
That was very cool.
It was dope filling up the stage one-sided.
Yeah, the building kind of tilted. I felt it. That's why I stayed where I was. I stayed in the back, counterbalance, you guys.
I was like, "You sure you want the wall to come up?" Yeah, bring it all up.
Like the whole row. That was hilarious. The whole row. And then you calling me out like and then Joaquin in the back.
Dude, if my kids call you Theo, you family.
I was like,
stop trying to run away.
I was like, I ain't a part of that. I'm too white.
That's why you would have been on our side of the split, right? You see how it was split.
It's like a rainbow. It was hilarious.
It was a shades of brown rainbow.
It was like paint swatches. This color.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty good. That's a good one. Let me write that one down. All right, we're gonna keep that one.
But it was dope. But then afterwards, we wanted to go to Lepardo's for the in-laws.
Were they closed?
They were closed.
So are they closed?
They are not closed. Magda got to the bottom of it, and apparently on Sundays they open at 4. So from 4 to 9, just that dinner. That dinner scene for Sundays, which sucks because it's like after church you
right. You're like, I'm gonna get some pizza. Nope.
I'm not gonna go home, so then I have to get up again. Just so, and then they're closed on Mondays. So there that is because the worship team, the legacy worship team, I wanted to take them to Lepardo's
on Monday,
and they were closed. That's how we ended up at the other spot, Big Pie in the Sky.
Gotcha. Oh, speaking of the worship team, how was Friday?
No, you tell me. You were there.
I'm asking the questions. I direct this thing. Look at me. I am the captain.
I am the captain now. Wakanda forever. Dude. So we had the second worship night.
Worship night, yep.
Right, legacy night on Friday. And I was talking to Juice about this today because he also called me to ask since he went away, so he couldn't come on Friday. Dude, it was dope. Like it was dope.
Yeah, it was a whole different crew.
They were a lot more confident as a worship team, right?
Yes, they were.
They had their hiccups the first time because, again, the first time they ever sang together,
and they tried to do too much.
And they tried to do too much at once. Like they just.
They're like, we like this song, we like this song, we like this song, we like like.
Well, no,
they had like 15 songs.
They actually, for whatever reason, in their minds, they thought that they were going to be singing for the entire evening, and no breaks.
Still a lot of songs.
Still like 12 songs. It's still a lot of songs for 2 hours.
For a worship, it's worship. So worship, you got to repeat. You got to repeat each song at least twice. There's your time.
So this time, scusi, they only had a few songs. They had 5 to 6 songs. No, 6 songs because they have 5 and an extra just in cases.
Okay.
Right. That they knew perfectly well. Right. The great part, as you notice, is that it was a completely new crowd. Right. I wasn't expecting that many people because it's Mother's Day weekend, right? So,
correct.
Most of them are students, so they go home to spend the weekend with their moms, which is what happened. But it's like all new kids. It's like
kids that didn't want to spend
all
the
new
weekend
people
with their moms.
Well, they were local kids, so.
Like, forget you, Mom.
Forget you. I'm going to church.
I'm going to go worship.
I'm going to worship. But it was dope. It was dope. What set this one apart for me was the what's the word? The vulnerability at the end for the time of prayer,
Okay.
right? I just wanted to let me just pray. You got problems. You're college kids. I know you got problems and pressures,
Right.
right? So let's just pray together. But like I was not expecting what happened.
Them to open up.
Like,
like
I
they
wasn't
did, yeah.
expecting for them for not knowing us, right? To just open up and be like completely transparent and completely vulnerable on things going on. Like and
Yeah.
I'm still praying, right? I still
Right.
It's funny how I remember every prayer request that was made by everybody there, and I'm still praying. So it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, it was good. It was one of those like a good next step forward for the evolution of Legacy Nights. It wasn't it didn't feel like, how sometimes you'll do something and then you give notes and then the next week it's still not as good, or it's just as bad as
Right,
it
or the
was.
excitement dies down a little, and
Yeah,
stuff
so
happens.
they were like they really stepped it up. It was really good. Really proud of those kids. And so then the next one is, did we ever decide a date? Was it the 8th of next month?
Hold on, I'm getting
The 10th?
disturbing
The
text.
the 28th,
Contra.
the 100th, 57th, 24 parsecs. No, I'm just kidding.
The 8th.
Ooh.
The 8th. The second Friday. So the 8th
Oops.
of June.
June. Oh, wow. It is June.
Yeah, we're already in May. You know what we have.
Yikes. All right, cool. So we got the next one coming up on the 8th of June. So if you're listening, write it down. Come check us out. Hey, you'll be out of school if you're in school.
Right. Just follow Legacy Nights on Facebook, and it's Legacy Nights on Instagram. Let's just keep it Instagram for right now because everything else is still Legacy Church. So follow Legacy Nights on Instagram and get updated.
Yeah, and then you can link to that. It's Ellie. I cannot spell it because you didn't spell it normal.
Legacy Nights without
the E, right?
Without vowels.
Except for the Y. Because that's sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's sometimes Y. So Legacy Nights on Insta. So yeah, so that we're really excited about that.
That was loud.
What?
That was mad loud.
Oh, was it? Just blew somebody's ears out. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Okay, yeah. So a couple of things. Let's go. We're gonna go back
to the future.
We're gonna go back to move forward. This last week, huge news came out of. So as we all know, North Korea and the United States are going to be meeting, having talks for the first time.
Well, the president
ever.
And
well, that's why
is he a president?
He's their dear leader.
Their dictator.
So yeah, so North Korea and the United States, they're getting together. Kim Jong-un, President Donald Trump, I'm sure the president of South Korea will also be there. They're all getting together, and ahead of that, there was 3 U.S. detainees that were released, almost in a kind of, I guess, it was like a goodwill, good faith, goodwill gesture. One of the guys that was released, we talked about. I can't remember which one exactly he was, because it was funny because you had 3 guys. So you have Kim Hak-song, who previously he described himself as a Christian missionary, and he was in North Korea to start a experimental farm, and he was held on suspicion of hostile acts, whatever that means, right? Then you had Tony Kim, who also worked at the Pyongyang University of Science and Technology, and he got detained on espionage charges. And then you had Kim Dong-chul, who was a pastor in his early 60s, who's been there since 2015 on spying charges. And so all 3 of them got released. They're home already. They're back in the States. President Trump met with them when they landed.
Which is dope, right? Because it was like at 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was just very unexpected. And one of them, do you remember which one it was? One of them has a connection to.
Well, we talked about him.
We did talk about him.
I
which
can't
one?
tell you right now. It's one of the Kims.
Well, all three of them are Kims.
All three?
Yeah, you have Kim Hak Sung, Tony Kim, and Kim Dong Chul. They're all three Kims. One of those Kims, it was a pastor. I think it was the guy in his 60s.
If I see the picture, I can. If I see the person, hold on.
Cause
You have the article pulled up.
yeah,
You know what we have learned.
yeah, it was that
Who's
guy.
this guy?
Left to right, Kim Hak Sung. So Mr. Kim Hak Sung, he was the guy that got held in May of 2017 for hostile acts.
Right.
Because he wanted to start a experimental farm at the Pyongyang University of Science and Technology.
Well, the thing is that
with their intranet.
We talked about that when it happened.
Right.
Right. Because, it's the whole 6 degrees of separation. So,
The Kevin Bacon?
Magda's boss, the company that Magda works for is originally out of California, out of L.A., and so her boss and the company. So I think the guy's son or son-in-law, someone connected to him, works for Magda's company.
Okay.
And so the boss knows whatever. So when it happened, like Magda's boss, who's also one of my, I guess, spiritual mentors or partners, for as far as legacy is concerned, mentor. So he came in the morning and had a morning meeting, asking for prayer for him because he had just gotten arrested and thrown in jail, whatever. Because I think he was using that as a way to spread the gospel. So he was
correct.
He was accused of trying to usurp
right
Kim Jong-un and try to start a revolution to overthrow the government.
Right.
Right,
As the article says, quote unquote, hostile acts. So, as always, we always like to point out when stuff happens that's dope or sad when it comes to Christians that happen throughout the world. And then I think it was Milena had posted, remember on Facebook, the church attack in Indonesia.
Right.
By the family. A family. Nine. Like the dad, like the mom and like two of the girls.
Yeah, one of the daughters was like 9 years old.
9 years old.
They were 9 and 11, and the sons were older.
Right. Yeah, and they were used as they were used for terrorist attacks in Indonesia. It's just it's just remember. As always, just remember those brothers and sisters out there who are, and they were just trying to worship. I mean, they're allowed to go worship. They're allowed to go to church. They even had security at the churches. I don't know if you saw that part where they were talking about they had security at the church and they got it through the security up to, and then they just blew themselves up, and it was just like, whoa. Because even with security, when security stops them, that's when they'll just go ahead if they can't get, if they know they're not going to be able to get any further past. So let's remember those brothers and sisters out in Indonesia who went through that this past week. So along that same vein, somebody near and dear to Jay's heart also passed away. Was it today, I believe?
Right.
No, Sunday.
It was just announced today.
Yeah, it was announced today. Passed away Sunday. And it's somebody that if you are our age, you'll know who it is. If you are way younger than us,
you may not know.
You probably don't know.
You probably still know because
don't know who it is unless your father showed you this movie. So Margot Kidder, who was Lois Lane in the Christopher Reeves Superman movies.
The Richard Donner.
The Richard Donner. Well, Richard Donner only did the one.
Yeah, he was in it. She was in it.
She was.
That's the one that most people will recognize because it's the most talked about. So that's why I'm saying that one.
So she was in the Superman movies of 70, 79.
70.
Was it 79 when the
Yeah.
first one?
79.
And then 81, I think
81.
was the other one. So she
Yeah,
was
81 because I always say that Magda was born in 80. So I was already going to the movies by myself. you were still in diapers.
That's funny. Not nice, but it's funny. Yeah, so she played Lois Lane in the Superman films from 78 to 87. So she was Lois Lane in all four. Always like Lois Lane, always needing to get saved by old Superman. And so she passed away at 69. So we just as kind of comic book fans, as movie fans, as DC fans, she was our first Lois Lane, like our first legit,
Well, for us, right?
Lois Lane. I mean, we knew about the
TV show one.
The TV show, but that was before our time. That was reruns for us.
Right. Right.
Well, made for me. I don't know about Jay because he's so much older than me. But
she was our Lois Lane.
She was our Lois Lane, our first Lois Lane. So, want to just give a little shout out to her and to the role that we will remember her by, even though she was in a bunch of other stuff. How we know her
right.
as.
She was in a
Lois
lot,
Lane.
even as recent as a few years ago. She was, in a few movies and TV shows and stuff, but forever Lois Lane.
Forever Lois Lane. So we have that. Now, we're on to the, let's see, what else we had here? So, hold on, I'm looking at my notes here. So we did, that's done. And Margot. All right, so in the vein of the comic book stuff, with Margot, what?
No, I know what you're going to talk about.
Oh, in the vein of the, before we get to kind of that crazy story and then the record of the week, two things.
Crazy story.
Super excited about. Deadpool comes out this Friday, and I am excited. I am super hyped to see this movie. Trailer looks great, and I just saw something today where they were like, they were kind of they were putting the question out there about whether or not we really know what the movie's about, whether or not Cable really is kind of the bad guy, because that's how they've positioned him. So the guy was kind of wondering, like, are they misleading us with the way the trailer's been cut, or do you get a scene where they'll make up and then they go after the real bad guys, and one of those would be what's his name, Juggernaut, the Juggernaut. Bleh. I said that was just something that somebody had propositioned because of their relationship, because of the relationship in the comics.
Cable isn't the villain. He starts off as the villain, but he's not. He can't be. It's Cable. It's Cable. That's the son.
But a lot of us cut Cable.
That's Cyclops' son. Yo, you get 30 minutes for that one. You stupid.
All right, then go ahead. I won't say another word.
No jokes.
No
jokes.
I can't talk without jokes.
Actually, and we can't talk about the news article that's coming up without jokes. So you gotta repeat.
So anyway, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying, the movie has it as Cable is the kind of the main bad guy. So all I'm saying is somebody. Now here's the thing: if you are on T-Mobile tomorrow on their T-Mobile Tuesdays, they're doing a special promotion where I think it's like $4 to go see Deadpool.
I think it's 5.
4 or 5. Still.
Either way.
The thing is make sure you look at it. You got to use it this weekend.
Right.
So guess where I will be on either Friday or Thursday or Saturday.
Me, probably Sunday. After church, since we have 2 cars.
Right.
So they can go that way, and then Judy and I can go that way.
Go the other way, yeah. If you're gonna do that, just remember you got to buy the tickets. Don't forget to buy. It's better to buy them beforehand, so you don't lose the discount. But anyway, so Deadpool's coming out, and then the second thing that I am super excited for, the trailer dropped. I think you put it on
I did.
the website, but we didn't talk about it, so we're gonna talk about it now. Second season of
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is coming out, and
he got bodied in that trailer.
he got the snot kicked out of him. It was great too, right? In the trailer, you see him. He comes up against this guy. You know, he walks up to him like, you know, I'm Luke Cage. Ain't nobody can hurt me. And the dude just puts him down.
He got
and his
bodied.
face when he got hit, and it hurt. He was like, wait a minute, this don't feel good. So Marvel's Luke Cage will be coming out this summer. I think next month, right?
Yeah.
I think it's next month. So if you're a fan of the show, go check it out. If you're not a fan of the show, go watch season 1. It is on Netflix. And then you can be ready to watch season 2. Because it is a great, I mean.
And out of all of the Netflix Marvel flicks, like, for me, number 1 is Daredevil. Right? Then Cage.
Then for me, it's probably Punisher, then Jessica Jones, and then Iron Fist. That would be my boop, boop, boop.
Yeah,
boop.
I would say, for me personally, Jessica Jones, season 2.
I haven't watched it yet.
Because I tried watching season 1, and I just couldn't. It bored the hell out of me. I couldn't take it. It bored the hell out of me.
I liked it. It was just a slow burn. But
so season 2, I saw season 2. And I liked it.
Yeah, season 1. The problem with Jessica, it was just a slow burn. So by the end, it just got more and more intense because of Kilgrave and like that whole her trying to figure out what the heck was going on and all this stuff. But I seen it for the first episode, and then I was like, you know what? I need to wait till Gotham is done. Wait till Arrow. Right? Wait till all those shows are done, and then I'll just sit down and watch all 8 episodes and just binge. Just binge watch Jessica Jones. So so we got those 2 things coming out. Remember, Deadpool is going to be rated R. So don't do like a friend of mine who was going to let her kids go see it.
I have indeed though.
And because they were going to go with their big brother.
I'm not even going to ask who.
Oh, you don't know the person. They were gonna go. You know, she was like, "Oh yeah, the kids are gonna go with their big brother. They're excited, whatever." And I'm like, yeah, they don't need to go. And she was like, "Oh, why not?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's rated R. It's too violent, you know." And she was like, "What?" She goes, "Hold on a second." Called her son. It was like, "Yeah, you can't take the boys to see that." And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, it's rated R. It's not appropriate." Blah, blah, blah. He was like, "Oh, okay." Fortunately, the boys hadn't been told. They were going to be surprised.
Okay, good.
So they missed out. They didn't miss out in the sense of them getting all excited and then getting all down again. And all right, so this one is yours because you found it. You sent it.
I don't want it.
So what is this is crazy story of the week?
Yo, we need to
It's like, this is crazy.
We need to convert that into an actual segment, right?
Yes.
So we have like the real news, like the North Korea stuff, and then we got and in crazy news today, or this week or whatever. So I found an article, a coworker of mine, between she and I, we always send each other like crazy articles,
right?
And for the most part, the bulk of them have been teachers sleeping with students.
Yeah, that's
right. Female teachers.
That's so weird. It's not as crazy. Like when you look at it, right? You're not like, oh my gosh. You're just kind of like, another one.
When it first started happening, right? Because it's rare that so many female teachers, right?
They got caught. It's rare that so many
caught.
Female teachers got caught. It's not so rare that female teachers did it.
It's such a double standard, but we won't get into that.
Because remember, there's more female teachers than there are male teachers.
Right. But the airplane flew kind of close. Right. So that's been the bulk of it. But she sent me. I mean, because we work for the news, so we get all this stuff coming in, right? But then like she sent me this, and I just thought it was going to be like some crazy stalker chick, right? Because the headline was crazy stalker chick though. The headline was, stalker sends 65,000 text messages to a dude. 65,000. So I thought that was going to be the entire article.
And that was after the first date.
Right. So the bulk of the story is, the gist of the story is, they connected on, they won't say which dating app, but they connected on a dating app, right? Went out on one date. And one date, this dude determined that he never wants to see this chick again, right? She took that rejection as a challenge, right? Because according to her, she fell in love with him after that one date. And the reason why she sent them 65,000 text messages, according to her, was so that he can answer her, whether angry or not. And the angrier he answered, she saw that as the more truthful he was, right? But the chick was crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean past tense.
The young lady.
The chick is crazy.
The young lady is crazy.
No, the chick is crazy. The chick is crazy. She traveled, right? Yo. According to the article, she told dude that if he closes the app, right? If he cancels the app and he takes, deletes the app off his phone and she can't find him on the app anymore, then she's gonna go find him. So he did it. I don't know if he did it on purpose or he just did it because he was just tired of her. And she drove from Miami to Arizona to keep her word that she was gonna go get him.
Yeah. And here, this one, the man stated that after the first date, he received about 65,000 messages, and she would send 500 a day. 500 messages a day. But you know what?
She had gotten arrested, right? Because he saw movement in the house, called the cops, and it was her in his house. And when the cops arrested her, they found a giant kitchen knife in her car. She took a bath in his bathtub.
Yeah.
Right? What the hell, yo? She took a bath. She broke into his house, took a bath in his tub. Right? Yep. She was talking about it that if he didn't get with her, that she would murder him. But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait.
She said that she would murder him and that she would bathe in his blood because of the love that they share.
That she shared for him.
Because according to her, he loved her too. He just didn't know it yet.
Well, not on this one. It doesn't say that, but she in a jailhouse interview with the AZ Arizona family, AZ described the man as her soulmate, saying, "I felt like I met my soulmate, and I thought we would just do what everybody else did, and we would get married, and everything would be fine." Asked why she allegedly sent so many texts, she told the news site, "Because it made me find out all my information. Loving him selflessly brought this information because everybody just wants to take. But if you just give and you don't stop giving, you will all of a sudden receive a lot." This is the line. She denied being crazy in the jailhouse interview. "I am the person that discovered love."
Son. 65,000.
And what's crazy is
I thought that was a misprint when I read it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I just thinking, what if she did one of those things where, as part of them is how they'll send one letter so that as it goes out, so that she sent about 30,000 of those, or is that
apparently the text messages went from "I love you," we're soulmates, we're supposed to be together, to anti-Semitic, hate messages and hate text messages, right?
So,
but in the jailhouse interview, she actually said, "Well, if he called the police on me and he wants me to be arrested and go to jail, then I'll go to jail because that's what love is, right? Because he's the love and I'm the light." I was like,
so what I'm hearing is she's available.
Yes, she is. You like crazy chicks? Go ahead.
I do got vacation time I got to burn up. I mean, I saw your picture. I knew we were destined to be together.
Right? Do to her what she did to him.
But send her 65,000 letters.
Without the
actual letters.
But without the bathing in blood.
No, I now that I will not age anymore, I quit doing that. But yeah, so listen.
All I'm saying is be leery of those dating apps.
Be careful of dating apps, and this goes for everybody. Like if you go on a date and you really hit it off, and you in your heart feel like this is my soulmate, keep it to yourself until they acknowledge that they are in agreement with you.
At least wait till you go on a second date.
Wait till the third date. First date you meet. Second date, you make sure. Third date, declare your soulmate love to them, and
never declare your soulmate love. All right,
and send them the first 15,000 text messages.
That's retarded. But don't make any declarations or
right.
Life changes
right
after one date,
unless they declare their love for you, and you realize that they are way out of your league. Then go all in. That's all I'm gonna say.
Way out of your league and rich.
Then go all in. Or even just out of your league. Listen, then go all in. All in. All chips in. That's all. Yeah.
Son.
I wish somebody would like me enough to send me 65,000 text messages. Yeah, so.
You ever been stalked before, Kenito?
I wish. No, I have not. No, I have not. I will not incriminate myself. I plead the fifth.
I've had a stalker.
I've never sent 65,000 text messages anywhere.
I've had a stalker. It is at first the ego, right? At first it's like, yo, that chick is stalking me. Yo, I got to stalk. Yeah, and then that quickly turns into what was that? You walking home and you hear something in the bushes.
Rustling in the bushes.
What was that? What's going? Like stalking's not cool when the chick is psychotic. Hold on a minute, wait.
So remember, guys and gals, don't declare your soulmate love on the first date, and don't stalk.
And don't send 65,000 messages.
And
Find something to do
don't
with
send 65,000
with your
messages.
thumbs.
And that's both sexes.
Yeah, this isn't just for the
right.
females.
We're telling both
it's
sexes.
for everybody.
Stop being crazy.
It's for everybody. If you are desperate for love or attention, right, and or if you're somebody that uses the dating apps, right, you got to be careful, because I'm pretty sure that this guy did not go on that dating app saying looking for crazy psychotic chick to stalk me and want to kill me and bathe in my blood.
He looked at her and was like, "Ooh, she's cute. She's attractive."
Right, and they talking. I guess I don't know. I never used a dating app.
I don't. I tried. Even in dating app, I suck even at using dating apps. So my next move is I'm gonna hit up my old Cambodian congregation. Tell some of them ladies to go to Cambodia.
You suck because you can't text or write because tone is lost. Tone is lost, and like
I can text. I can write. I'm not ignorant. I'm not uneducated.
I'm just saying, like, you text things.
I'm barely educated.
You text things, and to you, like, you're texting a joke,
yeah,
and it's funny.
And it is funny.
And it is funny, but when you read it, it doesn't translate.
If you don't know me, you don't realize why it's funny. Yeah.
And I say this because
it's true. Because it hurt my feelings. Because I hate you, Jay. My feelings are hurt.
There have been times where
we're done. I'm gonna lower you on the mic.
There have been times where Joaquin is gonna text a female, and like he'll send it to me first.
Yeah, because
because
I'm very insecure.
When you read this, how does this come off? It's like, dude, I hope you're not sending that to a girl. Don't text that. It's just be normal. Ask her how she's doing.
It's like that is me being normal. I don't know what you mean by being normal.
Yo, but it's funny.
So you don't say I know I'm not nothing.
But it's funny, right? Because it's like that tone is hard to transcribe in the text message, right? So you don't know if someone's if they're texting if they're angry or whatever, right? I remember I read something from
even though I've gotten pretty good at picking up angry tone through text.
Right. It's just
when it's all caps.
Wait, are they excited?
They're really
angry.
angry.
Are they pissed off?
No, it's all caps. They're really angry. If they're excited, it's little caps with little caps with exclamation points. But yeah. Yes. So thanks, Jay. Thanks for putting that out there. I am a failure when it comes to texting because I'm hilarious.
When it comes to texting,
so I'm hilarious.
So girls,
but
you need to call him.
But people can't pick up. Listen, if I ever text you, just assume I'm being funny, and they just be like, "Yeah, your joke stunk," and then I'll be like, "I wasn't joking," and then you'll realize where I was coming from.
Always take it as him being funny first.
Yes.
Right. Always
funny first. If I say, "Look, I'm being serious," then you know that what's coming next is me being serious.
Right. And then anybody who's met Joaquin knows that he's always being funny. So
I can't help myself.
Right. Just take it as him being funny first. So if not, don't text, don't email.
Yeah, just call me.
Just call a brother.
Or hang out by where I live with a bag of boneless spare ribs or a couple of steaks. And bring me some food. That's all I'm saying. If you're gonna yell at me,
food for entertainment.
If you're gonna yell at me, then at least let me have something to eat while
you're yelling. Are you listening to me? Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you didn't appreciate that joke. I'm picking my teeth out. That was a good ribeye. I'm so dumb. All right, so now for the new release today, there's no real way to transition over to this. So just hit us up on Insta and Twitter and just be like, how dumb are you? And if you want to hear some really great stories about my incompetence when it comes to communicating, just text me. Just hit me up on the Overflow Podcast Instagram, and I'll give you some terribly sad stories. Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll share them one day when we talk about failure. We talk about failure and how to survive it. But
we have to try to do that with no names.
No names. No names. The names of the innocent will not be redacted. Or is it the names of the guilty will not be redacted?
I don't know.
Only the names of the innocent.
But anyway,
so
today,
that's it.
This week's
new release today,
music
album
release
or songs.
Right. The song of the week is "Parachute" by Aaron Cole, featuring No Big Deal, which can be found on Aaron Cole's new album that he just dropped called Virginia
EP,
Boy.
Virginia Boy. It's an EP, not an album, because it's only six tracks.
Da, 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 da. All right, so it's an EP, not an album.
Yeah, the song will be up on the page. Dope little song. You guys know we are Aaron Cole fans here at the Overflow Podcast.
And No Big Deal fans.
And No Big Deal. It's No Big Deal. We're fans of them.
Word.
Of those guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Wisconsin.
Those are the kind of texts you get from me.
It's like, what is he talking about? You read stuff like that, just laugh because he's trying to be funny.
Because I'm being funny. I'm hilarious, dang it. So we got Aaron Cole, Virginia Boy. So new release today. You can go to their page, check it out under the new music. As always, also you can find it on Spotify and all the music places. Check them out. Check them out. If you like it, buy the song, buy the albums.
And while you're at new release today, check out
everything
else that's on there, right? Today. Because that's the spot to go to find out to discover new artists,
right?
Indie artists, they have a real big focus on indie artists now, right? And
go check them out. They got some if you're CCM, they got the CCM stuff, but then man, the indie stuff they got some real. We've played a lot of the indie stuff, is mostly when we were playing music.
A lot of these bands and a lot of these artists, they will put out a listening session on new release today before the album drops. So you can go on new release today and listen to an entire album, right, before it actually drops. So it's the spot for all your music needs, and test out an album, test out a new artist.
Yeah, and then soon it'll also be the spot to go where you can connect with the Overflow Podcast. So with all of that,
to stay on the funny side of things.
What are we talking about today, Pastor Jay?
So today we're gonna keep things light.
That's how you know we're serious. When I go, what are we talking about, Pastor Jay?
Yeah, but it's not gonna be serious.
Then we shift to the more serious topic.
So on today's episode of in No, that's not the way it's said. All right, so I'm not even going to do it. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about things not found in the Bible, right? Things that are said or quoted or whatever that came from somewhere, but I guess that it sounds so good or it sounds so religious, I'm guessing,
Right.
that people just automatically assumed or automatically associated it with the Bible.
With La Biblia,
Right.
La Biblioteca.
I mean, and there are things on this list that I found online that even like Joaquin and I were like, oh, that's not in the Bible. Oh, okay.
And the only reason I said that was because I'd never even heard that saying.
And the one that I said it to is because I've said it many times.
Right.
So when I read it, I was like, oh, well, I guess I gotta stop saying that, or stop saying the Bible says, right? So,
Yes, you should always stop saying the Bible says, unless you're like literally quoting scripture. That's all.
I'll say the Bible says
The Bible says
before I say the voice of God.
the voice of God. So,
or thus saith the Lord. Oh my goodness, that used to be abused so much in my church growing up.
yeah. Thus saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord. That's somebody one time said that was used. That thus saith the Lord was used in a teaching one time about, people are like, well, they're like, listen, when you're reading scripture, when it says thus saith the Lord, you need to be paying attention because God's speaking. Right. And you need to hear what he be saying.
And you need to watch out.
You need to hear what he be saying, dog.
All right. So
what you got? What you got, dog?
First one.
Whoop, whoop.
First one. This one did not surprise us because we both, being biblical scholars, we both knew that it wasn't in the Bible.
I just learned that today.
Yeah, lying. We both knew this wasn't in the Bible. God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah, stop saying that.
I have heard that said so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you've seen it everywhere, right? Because it's the little plaques and stuff people hang them up all.
Yeah. But I've actually even heard that
from the pulpit.
Preached from the pulpit.
Right? I don't know that I've ever heard it from the pulpit.
I've heard it preached from the pulpit, and I'm just like, So if God is Jireh, right? He's your provider. He's your Rapha. So why would he help you if you can help yourself? Like, it always struck me that kind of weird, right?
Right.
So
no. But he's saying though is that he will help you if you're helping yourself. So you see, if you're not helping yourself, then he will not. I just kind of flipped it, right? He will not help you.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know what that is, though?
You know what, God? I got this. I don't need you.
But you know what? That's okay. I'm about to go way out in left field here, but this is like a very prosperity gospel kind of saying, though, if you think about it, because
explain yourself.
So think about it, right? When they're like, well, if you're not sowing the seed, then God's not going to bless you.
Ooh.
So you got to help yourself. How do you help yourself? You help yourself by sowing that $1,000, $2,000, $8,000 $1 million. The God, then he will help you, but because he will return that to you 100-fold, 10-100-fold, whatever it is. So that's kind of a weird, this is me just kind of stretching a little bit because it's just kind of brought to my head. But God helps those who help themselves, or God blesses those. God only blesses those who bless him, right? That's a kind of a very prosperity gospel-ish kind of teaching. Well, God will bless you, but you got to bless him. So for you to get God's blessings, you got to bless God.
So God will bless you if you do things.
Yes.
Right?
Which is also a very works-based.
Very works-based.
Works-based. So, all right, go ahead. That was just a thought.
No, it's a good place to go. So the earliest recording of this saying is actually from Miscusi.
Aesop.
Not Miscusi, but from Aesop's fable, Hercules
the
and
A is silent.
The Wagoner. Right? A man's wagon got stuck in a muddy road, and he prayed for Hercules to help. Hercules appeared and said, "Get up and put your shoulder to the wheel." And the moral given was, the gods help them that help themselves.
What a jerk.
Right? I've never read
this
a story having to do with Hercules where he wasn't a jerk.
Well, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Right? We won't get into everything else because we're just focusing on the bad sayings. Right?
Yes.
So God helps those who help themselves is not from the Bible, but from Aesop, one of Aesop's fables that I've never heard of before.
You know, I might have read it. I used to have like a couple little books, like Aesop's Fables.
So did I.
But
But
I don't, it's so long ago. I was like
don't
8.
remember.
I was like 8.
All right. Take the next one.
All right, so the next one is children. Bean. I'm going to use this to Bean next time I see him. I'm going to be like, Bean, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I've never quite that's like a really I think that one's got to be the oldest. It feels like it's the oldest one. You know?
Why?
Cuz I've never had anyone say that to me, but I've heard it a lot growing up in the South. Like it's always it's kind of out there. Cleanliness is next. So despite the strict rules given to the Israelites about uncleanliness as a metaphor for sinfulness and ceremonial washing required by the priests, this phrase is not in the Bible. It originated as an ancient Babylonian and Hebrew proverb but became very popular during the Victorian era after being revived by Sir Francis Bacon, Bacon, and John Wesley, which is funny because John Wesley is the founder of the Methodist.
The Methodist Church.
Right?
Was it the Methodist Church or the Wesleyan Church?
The Methodists. Is the proverb true beyond metaphor? Well, maybe not. I thought this was hilarious. A new study shows that people are generally fair and more generous when in a clean-smelling environment. So if you're asking for money, make sure the place is clean.
Make sure it smells clean.
Smells clean. Have that Mountain Fresh candle burning.
Get that Febreze spray.
But Jesus also exhorts us to worry more about the sin in our hearts than the dirt on our hands. Wow. So, well, yeah, I remember, Scripture talks about, was it the Pharisees that were, clean, right? They were clean on the outside,
right?
But on the inside, they were filthy, and so that's what it's getting at, right? It's just that it's this cleanliness is next to godliness is one of those things that we all have experienced at one point or another, where we're told. Perfect example, when I was growing up, here in the South, people like, you had your Sunday best, right? You went to church in your Sunday best. And if you didn't go in your quote unquote Sunday best, it was like, well, don't you want to present your very best self to God on Sunday morning?
Really?
Like that's the mentality, right? That's why you dress up, right? You dress, right? That's the mentality as to why you dress up. You don't dress up because you want to dress up. Is you dress up because you want to present your best self to God. You want to present, it's which is a weird thing to say, right? Because it's kind of like, well, God sees you all the time, but on Sunday he somehow sees you even better, right? In your best self, and he forgets the ripped shorts you were wearing, when you were playing football out in the field, a couple of days ago.
Oh, that revealing skirt you were wearing the night before.
Well, listen, I've stopped wearing skirts, Jay. Leave me alone.
Hey,
that's from the past.
God sees you.
So yeah, so cleanliness is next to God. But that wasn't something that was told you guys growing up, because I know Pentecostals usually dressed. You had kind of a very strict dress code.
Yeah, but it wasn't told to us because of that. Remember, we were legalists, so you just had to do it.
Right. But so cleanliness is next to godliness. Look, it's nice to be clean. People like being around clean people. Thumbs up. Do that.
It should be smelling good is next to godliness.
But and I don't know that this is something that even bothers people. I don't know that's even something, because most people dress down anyway anymore. No one dresses up to go to church anymore, for the most part.
Very true.
They do like me. I quit wearing ties, and I just wear jeans and shorts now because it gets hot in the summer.
All right, I'm gonna skip down a few.
All right, what we got?
To the one that I thought was it wasn't a Bible, but the one that I say a lot: hate the sin, love the sinner.
Ooh, Ooh, that's not in the Bible, Jay. That is in the Bible. Jesus said, and I quote, I saith, hateth, the sinneth, but not thee that is committing thy sins.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I thought it was straight from the Bible. I use it, and I've said it so many times.
Yes. Now I feel bad.
I've probably convinced myself that it was
we
straight out of the Bible.
We need to go on Facebook and be like,
right?
hey guys, sorry we've said this all these years. No. Hate the sinner and the sin.
So sorry we've been saying hate the sin, love the sinner. It's actually, we're just gonna hate sin and sinner, right? Yeah. But anyway, although it's a biblical sounding admonition, it is not directly from the Bible. It's actually a loose quote of something Mahatma Gandhi wrote in 1929. Hate the sin and not the sinner. Augustine expressed a similar thought back in AD 424 with love for mankind and hatred of sins. The biblical principle backing this up is found in Jude 1, 22 and 23. We are to hate sin, even our own, and we are to show love to other people. The hating sin part, though, is coming under fire today as more and more people define themselves by their sin and resent the guidelines God has given us in His Word. Like, the funny thing is that.
So hold that thought. I'm gonna read the
Jude.
The Jude. It says this, and this preaches because it's from the Bible.
It's from the Bible. So,
and have mercy on those who doubt. Save others by snatching them out of the fire. To others show mercy with fear, hating even the garment stained by the flesh. So that's kind of part of what they're saying it comes from as a principle. All right, go ahead.
Right. But the whole hate sin, not sinner, right? Even though it sounds biblically correct.
Right.
Right? Because we are not to hate the person, right? We are to hate sin because we are to hate sin. But it's not something that can be quoted back to the Bible.
Correct.
Right? So it's not So it's not that you shouldn't say it or that we shouldn't say it, right? Because it's still an okay sounding admonition.
Correct.
Right? It's still something that explained properly or said properly or from the right place. It can still be used.
Correct.
But
however,
you can't quote it back to the Bible.
No. And honestly,
it can't be the Bible says or Jesus says because neither one say it.
And honestly, if you think about it, hate the sin, love the sinner and they touched on it here at the end where there's like the hating sin part is coming under fire. More people define themselves by their sin. Like that's kind of what even Christians use as a justification as to why they engage or they might engage in things that might be a bit wonky.
What do you mean?
So like, if I'm trying to think what would be a good example. But so the idea is like, if you tell somebody like, yo, like maybe you shouldn't hang out with that person because they're shooting heroin all the time. I don't know.
Damn, you always go so dark.
Well, that's nighttime. So, right? Because they're always shooting heroin, and you might, we don't want you to, it's a danger, right? That you could end up falling into that, right? And what? No, they're a great person. They're a great person. The Bible, hey, we gotta hate the sin. We gotta love the sinner. So like that's like their excuse for being around things that they shouldn't be around. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like the excuse is, so it's like when I always joke about when somebody told me they like to have a beer at a bar because they were trying to show people how they're Christians, right? And but that's a justification, right? Well, drunkenness is a sin, so we hate that sin, but we gotta love the drunkard. So I'm gonna put myself in those situations because that's how I'm gonna, quote unquote, love on them. Which of course makes me and my jerky self go, well, are you talking to them about Jesus?
Yeah, well, it's not a jerky self. It's something you have to say.
But I say it in a jerky way.
That's just because you're a jerk.
Because I'm a jerk. So we go right back to my point being true. So that's a very interesting phrase. Hate the sin, love the sinner. We all use it. We all have used it. Me and you have used it from the pulpit. But I guess when you think about it, and this is something for all of us to think about, is that, that's not the best phrase. Because by saying, "Oh, we love the sinner," it almost feels like by saying "hate the sin, love the sinner," like when you're saying it almost feels like you're excusing the sin.
Right.
Like, "Oh, we hate the sin." Well, if you hate the sin, why are you around it? You're not around things you hate.
Well, not only that,
right? So if you love the sinner, then you would bring the sinner to where you're at, where they're away from the sin.
Right. That's what I was going to say now. Right. If it's hate the sin, not the sinner, it's not a justification or like Puerto Ricans say, it doesn't give you a license. It doesn't give you a license to be around these things, right? Because you want to be around the person in spite of everything that they do wrong, in spite of all the sin that they do.
Correct.
You still want to be around this person because you want to separate yourself from sin.
Correct.
Right? And sinful things, right? But it is to bring the person into a realization of the sin,
right?
So they can come into an acceptance of Christ,
yes,
and his forgiveness and his mercy and his love, right? So,
yeah. So maybe that's something we need to remove from our
vocabulary,
our Christian vernacular.
There you go. Wow. There you go.
Booyah! Rapa, rapa, rapa. That was me speaking in las lenguas.
You're so stupid. You see? Yay!
And then and so, all right, so what's the last one?
You don't want the last one?
Nah, man, this is all you. This is all you, Pastor J.
You know what we have learned applies to
Pastor J. Because he's not reading it in a book.
I'm trying to choose which one. All right, so should we do love of money? No, because everybody talks about that.
Because I love money. Money, money, money.
Or okay.
Cream, dollar bills, y'all. Cash rules everything around me.
All right, so we're gonna do. So money is the root of all evil. Right? Is not
true.
It's not real. It's not. It's
no,
not from
money.
the Bible.
Money.
It's something that is quoted that way all the time, but it's misquoted, and because it's misquoted, it's misunderstood.
Correct.
Right. So
correct. There's one word. You add one word, and you completely change the meaning of this saying.
One word.
One word.
2 words.
Well.
Okay. Look. So 1 Timothy 6:10 actually says, "For the love of
money is the root of all evil."
Is a root of all sorts of evil.
All evil.
All right. So money itself is not good or bad.
That goes back to the money.
Right. And coming back, being rich, being wealthy is not a sin.
It is.
Right? Job was being wealthy and not sharing your wealth.
Jesus was against the 1%.
Right? Job was wealthy and was described as a man who was blameless, upright, fearing God, and turning away from evil.
Yes.
Right? Loving money, which in the Greek is called avarice.
Avarice.
And implies an emotional affection, is the root of all sorts of evil, as the desire to accumulate wealth is placed above God and others.
Right.
Right. So if you love money so much that you're gonna
so $1,000
reject God, right? Reject God and not care on who you hurt and who you step on, right, and who you kill just to gain this money, these riches,
physically or spiritually.
Then yes, that's
murder.
That's a problem, right? But
if all you listen to is rap from the '90s that talks about money, then you might have a problem.
Right. So stop listening to Mace. Right, so he even called himself Money. It was Money Mace. Remember?
Money Mace. I thought it was Murder Mace. Anyway, let's not get distracted.
Whatever. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But right, I'm trying to do this without making fun of anybody, any groups of people, right? But legalists will always say that right. For me, growing up legalist, right, so I can say this. Right, I can make fun of this.
Right,
because
I'm one of them.
That rich people were sinful people, right?
Correct.
That you can't be rich and be a Christian.
I can.
It was like
they
that.
can't.
Like, you can't give me your riches, right? They would actually say and preach from the pulpit
Right.
that rich people are not Christians because they're rich, right? But in the
Let me guess. Can I guess?
go ahead.
In the same breath, a rich person showed up at church, and they're all like, "Hermano, woo! Don't forget your tithe."
I went to a church here, right here in Georgia. I went to a church here, a Spanish church here, right? It was funny. They hid their legalism behind their what's the opposite of legalism?
Illegal.
You stupid.
Ism.
Oh man, whatever. Their freedom or whatever it is, right? They tried so hard to be progressive Christians that, you know, it was just like a blanket over all the legalism. So anyway, there was this Dominican guy who had a company that sold medical supplies, right? But
Dominicano.
like surgical supplies. So it is not that he sold like needles, whatever. He sold like big surgical machines or hospital machines.
Gotcha.
Right. So the dude was like, he still is loaded.
Correct.
Right, loaded, and he would come to this church, and it was a small, like, church in in an office park, right? It was a small, humble
Typical
church,
small Spanish church.
right? But he would come to this church, and all the legalism, the underlying legalism, whatever, right? But when he decided to make that his home church, right, and he would give offering, right, he'd give big offering, right, and he would give his tithes. But this pastor was so wrapped up on money and being a Spanish megachurch and collecting all the offering and all this stuff that he actually like put this guy on blast, because according to him, like, I know that you have all this money and you are not giving 10% in your tithes, because I see your tithes and I know that that's not 10% of what you make, because I know you make a lot of more money.
Wow.
Waskar, Happy, and I looked at each other like.
And he said it like from the pulpit, like in front.
No. If like
face to face
leadership stuff, and he's like, and we're like, well, and I turned to him and I was like, well, you all know that he ain't coming back, right?
Yeah.
Right, and he was, I mean, super cool guy, right? And he was like, he got pissed.
I would too.
Like, put that dude on blast, walked out, never came back. Luckily, he didn't. He was mature enough to like not blame God for that.
Right. To realize it was just that jerk.
Yeah, this guy, you're a money hungry jerk. Like he told him off. He cursed him out. Got up and left. Never went back. He's at another church. Right, but because we're like Waskar Happy now, we stayed in contact with him.
Right.
You know, we would still hang out with him or whatever.
Yeah, because he would always buy dinner. I get it.
No,
that's why he was rich.
Actually, he wouldn't. Actually, he would not. But he was just cool, because even though he made all this money, he was like he was self-made, right? He was like just a guy from the campo in the Dominican Republic. And when he got here, he just hustled and built and built and built.
Yeah, Campo's country.
Until, you know, country. That, you know, he built his own fortune. He built his own business, his own company, his own riches. But he was just still like that regular guy. Like, right? So, just cool to hang out with. But, dude, like, he would always talk about it, like, pissed off. Right? So you can't say things like, oh, well, you love money and you are rich, so your riches and your money is more important to you than God, and then be like, yo, you're a couple $1,000s short in your tithes.
That's like this church I went to. They had I looked at their membership form.
Yeah.
And they wanted you to put down your tax returns so that
Get the hell out of here.
No, this is my place. I live here. So that they could make sure that you were tithing what you were supposed to be tithing.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
What about the churches that tell you if you have a job that requires you to work on Sunday, you need to quit?
Yeah, our boy Angel had that problem, didn't he?
My old church in New York was like that too.
You know, it was like, what?
If
You're working on Sunday. We know what's more important to you.
Well,
It's like feeding my family. How about that? Feeding my family is important to me.
if you have a job and you work on Sundays and you made that job your idol, right? Come on, son.
No, it's
Come on,
not.
son.
I'd rather
Well-
not work on Sunday.
Right? But anyway, this was one of the weird random episodes that we
Little ranty,
that,
which we love.
that we like to do. It's a little ranty. It was a lot of jokes, a lot of fun. But we do hope that beyond the humor, right? You take the lessons learned.
Word.
That unless you can quote it from the Bible, like chapter, book, verse, straight from scripture, right?
Correct.
Then don't say it's from the Bible, right? Just say
Don't say it's a good life,
right? Or it's
inspirational.
yeah, something cool you heard or something inspirational.
With that being said, stop hating sin and loving the sinner. Just hate everything. Hey, listen, we're so glad.
Mahatma Gandhi, though.
Mahatma Gandhi, yo. So, hey, we're glad that you guys joined us again. Can't wait to talk to y'all next week. As always, my name is Joaquin.
I'm still Jay.
And this is the Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com.
Thanks for listening. Remember to head on over to thisisoutcry.com for more content. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher.